base hit to center field. Farmers will get waved home. Around third he comes. Here comes the throw from Herrera. It's late. Pirates take the lead. Off-speed pitch, and Marte drills it deep to center field. Herrera going back. He won't get it. This is going to bring in 2.
Now the Pirates scored 3 runs in the 9th inning to beat the Milwaukee Brewers last night 4-1 even. This 3-game series at a game apiece. Greg Brown along with Bob Walk inside. Thankfully, the roof is closed, about 40 degrees outside here in Milwaukee. Bob, Pirates needed that win. Of course, the Brewers in first place in the National League Central. You don't want them getting too far away from you. So they picked up the big win off Francisco Rodriguez.
Yeah, I think it's always a little special, too, when you get that closer. They're going out. Rodriguez's numbers were just amazing. His stat line, well, they weren't impressed with that in last night's game. They went out and beat one of the best closers that is in either league, at least this season.
We've talked about how well the Brewers have pitched against 2 of the big guns for the Pirates, Andrew McCutchen and Pedro Alvarez. Good to see them contribute a little bit. Andrew McCutchen, a walk, would move to third on this base hit by Pedro Alvarez and score on a ground ball. Later, Andrew McCutchen had a base hit. Pedro Alvarez a couple of hits. So they combined for 3 of the 11 hits last night. And again, good to see them make some contributions.
Yeah, they got off to a little bit of a slow start in this series in that game 1, but you're really relying on those 2 to provide you with some RBI power, hit some balls off the wall, maybe even a home run or something in this park, especially. This afternoon, I look for him to do some damage.
Bob, we are looking for the return today of Wandy Rodriguez, and got to cross our fingers here that Wandy Rodriguez gets back to where he was before he got hurt last year.
Yeah, we talked a lot about in spring training about what he would mean to this club, this starting rotation, if he could get back to that. Hopefully, this afternoon he takes that first step, because we really need the old Wandy back in this rotation.
Stay with us, because shortly Bob Walk is going to unveil the secrets to a series victory. Wow. trying to earn their 4th straight series victory. Greg Brown again back with Bob Walk. These two clubs left the field last night about 10:15. So, Bob, here we are less than 14 hours later, and they're back on the field again.
Yeah, there's no time to savor the victory. I imagine those coffee pots are working overtime down the clubhouse.
Let's get to the Rivers Casino tips to win from Bob Walk. As we said, we've got some secrets to a series victory here.
Well, don't tell anybody. They are secrets, but this is the way it's going to work. Good work from the pin. Wandy's first time out, probably not going to go real deep in this ball game. So the bullpen is going to have to probably pick up maybe the last 4 innings of this game, really take it deep. The other thing at Braun, he hasn't really done much against us to this point. A couple of singles, that's all. He's the Lone Ranger, big bat out there today. So if we can control Braun, I think we got this offense under control. And the last thing, their running game. They don't have a lot of big hitters out there. It's just Braun, as I said. Will they try to run a little bit more this afternoon? Maybe get something going on offense because of that. If they do, we got to cut them down.
Interesting point, because Chris Stewart started the first 2 games of this series because no doubt Clint Hurdle wanted to try and control that running game, but he had to put Tony Sanchez in their day game following the night game. Let's go back to Pittsburgh and Rob King. On the mound for the Milwaukee Brewers this afternoon, their right-handed ace, the 28-year-old, will face this Pirates lineup. It is brought to you by Toyota. Travis Snyder, Neil Walker, and Andrew McCutcheon, 1-2-3. Cleanup man is Pedro Alvarez. Gabby Sanchez, his last 11 road games, batting at a .355 clip. Jordy Mercer moves up to the 6th spot of the order. Jose Tabata, Tony Sanchez, Wandy Rodriguez round out the starting 9 Starling Marte not in there. Clint Hurdle telling us that he could come off the bench and play today. Here is a look at Gallardo.
Another solid start to his season. One thing that I noticed looking at his 8 starts, only one time this year has he been able to pitch 7 innings. So he's kind of just been a 6-inning guy.
Well, he's pitched 6 innings twice against the Pirates. April the 12th here at Miller Park and April the 17th at PNC Park, and a strike on Travis Snider.
You know, if you're at the kind of a middle to bottom of a rotation, you know, that's not bad. 6 innings. That's good for the leader of the rotation like Gallardo is. I expected a few more outings where he'd gone over 6 innings.
Now 2-1. Last time out was against the Yankees for Gallardo, and he suffered the loss, gave up 4 runs in 5 2/3. So he's lost 2 straight decisions to the Reds in Cincinnati and to the Yankees here. Ball 3, 3-1. Usually outstanding control. He's walked 14 on the year in 49 innings.
He didn't throw quite as hard as he did in his younger days.
And a leadoff free pass. So Travis Snider playing in the leadoff spot for the 5th time this season. Draws the walk against Gallardo, who will now face Neil Walker. Walker riding a 6-game hitting streak, was 1 for 5 last night. 2 out of 9 in the series. Brewers have won 7 of the 9 meetings this year against Pittsburgh. As Walker shows bunt that third baseman Reynolds way back. Ball 1. We have seen Walker, if not get a bunt down, do that a handful of times over the past week or so. Ron Renicke's Brewers still lead the National League Central Division 25-15, but they're 5 up now on the Cardinals. That lead was up to 7.5. This ball hit the other way. Chris Davis will make the catch, and Walker is retired. The Pirates, meantime, with the Cardinals 5 back in the division, the Pirates are 7.5 back of the Milwaukee Brewers. Now Andrew McCutchen. Barrel Automotive League leaders in on-base percentage. Troy Tulowitzki of the Colorado Rockies is first, and there's Andrew McCutchen, second in the league in on-base percentage. 1 for 3 with a walk last night, hitting .370 in the month of May. And again, they employ that big shift on him with essentially no one on the right side of the infield, especially with the first baseman Lucroy holding Snider. Ball 1.
Yeah, there's probably 100 and, I don't know, what do you think, 105, 110 feet?
110 feet between
of open ground over there. And that's where he got his hit yesterday. He hit it just about where the second base umpire Dale Scott is standing. Ground ball. Nobody around.
1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Off to the right, 1 ball, 2 strikes. McCutchen is a career .326 hitter versus Gallardo. And Gallardo's first 2 starts this season against the Pirates, a couple of no decisions.
They must have our TV feed. They just moved weeks over.
Oh.
Told him to get over there on the second base side.
Strike 3 call.
I don't think we saw a strike that entire at bat. Gallardo getting some calls. Look where all the balls have been. Off the plate, off the plate, off the plate.
Yeah, not 1 strike.
Off the plate.
C.B. Buckner calling the balls and strikes and giving Gallardo those pitches to McCutchen. And it brings up Pedro Alvarez. Out of play. C.B. Buckner behind the plate. Hal Gibson at first. Crew chief at second. Dale Scott. Dan Iasonia at third. Crew chief Dale Scott. A WB on the left side of the sleeves, honoring Wally Bell, who passed away in October, shortly after umpiring playoff series with the Pirates. And Snyder gets back. Strike is called. 0-2. On Alvarez. Couple of hits in last night's game. Career against Gallardo just 2 out of 24. 0.83 average versus Gallardo. And Martin Maldonado wanted that pitch up there. Couldn't get Alvarez to chase. Maldonado has served his suspension. And now Gallardo ahead of the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Alvarez with Snyder at first and 2 away. Another one upstairs, goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Years old. Native of Mexico, 6'2", 208 pounds, a second-round pick 10 years ago by the Brewers. Wanted that call, didn't get it. This time it's 3-2. And it was off the plate.
Looking at some of Gallardo's lifetime numbers, he's right up there amongst the pitching leaders of Brewers history. Probably going to pass some people.
Wait a minute. Alvarez strikes out. Back-to-back Ks. Now the Brewers come to bat against Wandy Rodriguez.
It's Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Toyota. Now's the time to go places with Toyota. Visit buyatoyota.com for special offers. And by PNC Bank for the achiever in you. Let's go Bucks.
Ricky Weeks leads off the bottom of the first inning for the Milwaukee Brewers. Wandy Rodriguez will face this lineup. Weeks, Gene Segura, Ryan Braun, 1, 2, 3. Then it is Jonathan Lucroy at first base. Mark Reynolds Goes over to third, 8 homers this season for the veteran. Chris Davis in left. Martin Maldonado, Logan Schaefer, Giovanni Gallardo facing Wandy Rodriguez, who makes his 5th start of the season. First pitch, strike.
Wandy's numbers aren't too good this year at this point. Hopefully they were because that knee was bothering him and everything is better now. It just, we talked about in the open, just love to see him get back to where he was before he got hurt last year, which is basically where he's been his whole career. 3-something ERA pitcher that's going to give you around 190 to 200 innings.
Rodriguez's last start this season was against the Brewers. He went 4 innings, gave up 4 runs. And that fastball fouled away by Weeks, who makes his 10th start of the season. He and Scooter Gennett have been platooning at second, so Weeks starts against the lefty. 1 for 3 in last night's game. Scooter Gennett last night was a pinch hitter and was walked intentionally by Clint Hurdle. 2-2. Rodriguez went on the DL with right knee inflammation. Made some rehab starts in the minors. Today the move made official as he reinstated and the Pirates optioned outfielder Jeff Decker back to AAA Indianapolis. Toward right center field, and trouble. Weeks into second base with a stand-up double.
Weeks, since he's been platooned, just hitting against lefties, he's kind of getting back to where he used to be as far as how dangerous he can be in the lineup. The batting average well up over 300. He certainly has some pop in the bat. I hit the wall on the fly.
Third double, 49 at bats for Ricky Weeks, and he doubles to begin the bottom of the first. Here is Gene Segura. 0 for 3, bunted last night for a sacrifice. Fastball taken high.
Look how far I can right off the foul line. And that's where Segura is trying to hit the ball. Ike's off. He's trying to take that ground ball away from the one that goes in that hole. Segura is going to try and push the ball that direction to move the runner.
Ryan Braun had a hit last night. Kind of a gift hit. A ground ball to Ike Davis. As he went too far to his right in the first inning. And Francisco Liriano was late covering. There's the bunt, and it's a perfecta. No chance. Rodriguez won't even look toward first. A bunt single for Segura, first and third, nobody out.
Now that's one of those things you have to, in your mind, be looking for. A lot of players like to try and bunt for a base hit in this situation. If it's a bad bunt and they get thrown out, they end up getting a sacrifice for it and no at bat. So it's kind of a win-win situation to try and drop down a bunt for a hit. And of course, for the Brewers and Segura, that was the best case scenario there. It's a good bunt. With his speed, no chance of throwing him out.
Ryan Braun told you that infield hit in last night's game. Later he singled to right field. His third game back since being placed on the disabled list with an oblique injury. He's a career .367 hitter against Wandy Rodriguez. Bounces this ball just foul. And Sonia over there, third. Braun, 6 homers on the season, 3 of them against the Pirates, 2 of them against Jason Grilli. Back-to-back games at PNC Park last time the Brewers were in Pittsburgh.
His first few at-bats he had in this series looked like he was really trying to commit himself to hitting the ball to right field.
Almost got away.
The last couple of times, his first pitch here, and then when he hit it to that double play last night, it looked like he was not trying to just push the ball off the right, like he was trying to hurt the baseball. It's kind of how we're used to seeing Braun swing that bat.
I wonder what his game plan is after spending time on the disabled list. He missed 6 straight games before being placed on the DL. And that's going to be out of play. But this is a rarity, really, Bob, that Ryan Braun, this is essentially a couple of weeks. Those oblique strains can last sometimes months.
Oh, yeah. It depends on how bad it is. It can really mess you up. And everything you do, whether you're a hitter or a pitcher, it's that trunk rotation. It's got to be there for the throwing motion. It's got to be there for the swinging of the bat. And it's kind of if you're a pitcher, it can be kind of violent the way you fire those hips open and throw that baseball. That front shoulder comes flying open, and it's all pulling on those muscles.
Bounce back to Rodriguez. A quick look to third. They get 1. They get 2. Couldn't have worked out any better. Weeks still at third, and now with 2 outs.
Weeks has been playing the game of baseball way too long to make that mistake. What is he doing?
He's at third now with 2 outs. Amazing. Instead of taking off.
Amazing.
And they would have had 2 runners on with 1 out.
I mean, Weeks has to go home then. That's baseball 101. If they throw you out at the plate, really you're not supposed to run to an out, get in a rundown, see if everybody can move up. But even if the worst case scenario there is they throw you out at the plate, and like you said, 1 out, 2 runners on, cleanup hitter up. I mean, that's amazing that he did not go. And I don't even think.
I don't know that Wandy was even thinking about.
Well, why would he?
Yeah, he barely looked.
No,
yeah, barely.
You're taught as a pitcher, hey, it's the first inning of the game. You'll trade that run, get 2 outs. So he got the 2 outs and didn't even have to give up the run to get the 2 outs. I mean, you've been playing baseball since you were, since you were a young teenager. And he's been in the big leagues this long, and for him to stand there and run back to third is amazing.
As frustrated as we can get watching some Pirates make base running mistakes. Imagine what Ron Renicky is thinking right now.
Well, we see this kind of stuff in baseball all the time, and if you watch other games and stuff, I know that
bounce to third and a chance to get out of it, and Wandy Rodriguez does. Thanks to Ricky Weeks, it's still a 0-0 game after 1.
A mental error by Ricky Weeks keeps the game scoreless as we head into inning number 2 here at Miller Park. I'm Robbie Mikowski. Well, Clint Hurdle today was announced as an award winner. Nothing to do with what he's done on the baseball diamond, but what he's done away from the diamond. Clint Hurdle was announced as the 2014 winner of the Brooks Robinson Community Service Award. It's given annually by the MLB Players Alumni Association to a current or former major leaguer. Clint will receive the award November 18th in New York City for his community service that exemplifies the unselfish and humble attitude of Brooks Robinson with bettering the lives of youth in his community. As we know, Clint Hurdle, the national spokesperson for the Prader-Willi Association, and he and his wife Carla execute the fundraising campaign at Root Sports and Pirates Charities. Does a lot of work in Pittsburgh. Hurdle told me today, Greg, that he finds it oxymoronic that someone would be given an award for community service. He said it's not why you serve or why you take time and effort to do it. He said the coolest part is that Brooks Robinson is a personal friend and one of his favorite players growing up. They shared an agent, Ron Shapiro, and Al Kaline and Brooks Robinson were his 2 favorite players growing up, and Brooks will present the award to him.
Wow, that's cool. Thank you, Robbie. Some previous winners, Jamie Moyer, Tim Wakefield, a former Pirate, Jim Thome.
Obviously, it goes without saying, it's a really a neat award to win, but well deserved.
Yeah,
that's Clint. Right?
Yep.
I mean, that's what he does. He really cares about his fellow man, basically.
As he said, a giving heart, a servant's heart. And he ends those emails, the mass emails he sends out to, I guess it's got to be thousands, with an inspirational message each and every day. By at the very end of it, make a difference today. And this is out of play. Gabby Sanchez getting the start at first base against Gallardo. He has 5 hits in his last 8 at bats. He grounded out as a pinch hitter last night. He had a pinch hit double on Tuesday night. You see a strong month of May, 24 at bats, 10 hits. Mike Davis getting this day off. And out of play. Sanchez, Mercer, and Tabata here against Gallardo.
Earlier I was saying that was Ike that was playing off. It was Gabby that was playing off first base.
It was Ike that was playing off first last night. And hit in the air to center. Coming in.
Long way.
Yeah, I'll say Logan Schaefer came in a very long way. Where he started, that ball held up long enough.
He's back there very deep. A little hesitation on his part.
Bring up Jordy Mercer. 5-game hitting streak for Jordy Mercer. And a strike. 1 for 4 last night and 3 for 7 in the series. Jordy's mom and dad in town watching this ball game at Miller Park. Jordy told us that we were having some fun with his mom on the telecast the other night. We saw a woman in the stands giving herself an eye test. Well, I thought it was you. It was John Lehner with us the other night, and he said, "Mom wants to assure you and everybody else her eyes are fine." 2-1.
What was she doing for the eye test?
She was doing this back and forth in the stands. You ever given yourself an eye test, Bob? You've done that, haven't you? Huh?
I don't think so.
Really?
Here's my eye test.
Bobby Mercer's parents in the stands again. Roller to Segura. It's Mercer. Follow every Pirates game with MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. Get live look-ins, instant replays, scores, stats, audio, free MLB.tv game of the day, and more. Download on the App Store or visit Pirates.com today. Starling Marte in the middle there with Francisco Liriano. He pitched a good game last night. And Neil Walker checking that back out for Marte.
Real nice control, I thought, from Liriano last night. He was throwing strikes that were edgy with everything, just hitting corners, really staying out of the middle of the plate. Even when he would get into a hitter's count, he still would not give in, and it was because of that good control, was getting a lot of chases on balls that were down out of the strike zone, kind of like that pitch that Ballard was doing.
And Bob, had Liriano had a little bit better luck, and really Tabata in the 5th inning, Chris Davis hit a ball to left field that should have been a single and an E7. As Tabata overran it, dropped it, but the official score gave Chris Davis a double. If Tabata is able to make the play, if you follow through the rest of that inning, Davis ends up not scoring. At any rate, he gives up just 1 run, 4 hits in 6 innings with a walk and 7 strikeouts. It was a very solid start for Liriano. Tabata the other way, lines it to Braun. 1-2-3 go the Pirates. After 1.5, it's a 0-0 ball game in Milwaukee. Baseball, we celebrate the tough but beloved Pirates manager Chuck Tanner. Guiding his team to the 1979 World Series, he backed his players with a fervor to succeed. Explore his career, unorthodox managerial style. New Inside Pirates Baseball Tuesday at 6 on Root Sports. Mark Reynolds to the plate. All one on Mark Reynolds. Hitting .220. 0 for 7 in this series. The Pirates employ that shift, and that's just popped up shallow center. Coming in, McCutchen. 1 out.
might have lost that up in the rafters.
Giving himself a little eye test up there.
And kind of backpedal right there at the end. He takes a couple steps backwards. Wow, what's up there?
This can be a tough place to play in afternoon games when the sun is shining through the panels, but don't have to worry about it today.
The thing about the ceilings in all these new stadiums, though, they finally figured out, I think, how to
contrast it.
Well, yeah, make it to where guys aren't losing the baseballs. The early domes, the one in Minnesota, the Houston Astrodome, you couldn't take your eye off fly ball. If you took your eye off, kind of look to see where you were and look back up to find it, good luck with that. The Astrodome had those thousands panes of windows up there that
eventually they had to paint over.
Yeah, but you could still see them though, and they would kind of like little gray squares that looked like a gray baseball.
Check swing. And Rodriguez will throw out Chris Davis. Wander Rodriguez has, since the double, which started the first inning, Ricky Weeks, that line double off the wall in right center, gave it the bunt single to Segura. Got the comebacker that was turned into a double play. Ryan Braun hit the bouncer right back to Rodriguez, and Weeks stayed at third base. And then Lucroy grounded out, so no runs across in that first inning. And here in the second, a fly out and a check swing bouncer. Here's Martin Maldonado. .24 at bats, a .333 average, and he served his 5-game suspension for his involvement
immediately.
Yeah, in that brawl. There's no reason to appeal that, he figured, as he sucker punched Travis Snyder around third base. Snyder had that shiner for a couple days, but they made up today. And Snyder came to the plate, shook hands with the catcher Martin Maldonado, so all is well. As Travis Snyder came to the plate, leading off the ball game, we'll watch him shake Maldonado's hand.
You don't know what he said. He might be saying right there, by the way, you hit like a girl.
He probably did. Ground ball to third. Alvarez on to first. 1, 2, 3. On to the third. What to ask Travis Snyder that? Is that what you said to Maldonado?
Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Barrel Automotive. We're driven to be better. And by Levin Furniture, proudly featuring solid wood American-made Amish furniture. For furniture that lasts, shop Levin. Let's go Bucks!
0-0 on to the third inning here in Milwaukee. The Brewers hosted the Yankees in interleague play over the weekend, and now the Pirates head to New York to take on the Yankees starting tomorrow night. Tony Sanchez grounds to Segura. Sanchez has retired his first start of this series. And now Gallardo will face his mound opponent. The Brewers will be off to Chicago, begin a road trip that will include Wrigley, then Turner Field in Atlanta for 4, and down to Miami against the Marlins. And Ron Renicki's club has played well on the road. The Brewers are 12-5 away from Miller Park. They're 13-10 here. Rodriguez with a hit and 5 at bats. One and one. A couple of strikes.
What did spring training home run Wandy hit?
A bomb.
Two home runs at McKechnie Field by pitchers that stick out now. Wandy's and one that Bob Patterson hit off Nolan Ryan. It took him over the trees. It used to be in left field.
Is that right? And slaps this ball to left. There's Chris Davis, who barely had to move. No home run this at bat for Wandy Rodriguez. Gallardo is a guy that, of course, has a bunch of home runs.
It's almost as if they get to play with the DH when
Gallardo
pitches. It really is a big advantage for the Brewers, and obviously for Gallardo that he can hit. One of the things that Donnie Robinson used to always talk about. I mean, he was very proud of his hitting, worked on it a lot. He said, "Hey, it's because I'm a good hitter and I could even hurt you with an extra base hit or a home run. That gives me a big advantage over the other guy. I'm facing 8 hitters. He's having to face 9."
Bounding ball right side. Ricky Weeks on to Gallardo, who gets there, and they get Travis Snyder 4-1, and the Pirates go down in order for the second consecutive inning through 2.5. It's still 0-0. Nothing going to the bottom of the third inning. Hey, we want to see how you root for your Buccos. Our AT&T fan photo of the day. Show us some of the more unique places where you display the Jolly Roger, perhaps, or some of your superstitions. Use the hashtag Bucks fan photo and tweet us your picture, AT&T fan photo, and show them during the broadcast.
And normally, if you include young children or dogs, you got a good shot of getting your picture on there.
Better than a good shot. It's a lock.
Yeah, those are just giving some tips.
Yeah,
tips to get your picture on.
Schaefer bounces this to Gabby Sanchez. Little tough hop at the last because it delayed Gabby heading to the bag, but he still beat the speedy Schaefer there. One down, and now here is Gallardo. Wandy Rodriguez has given up just the double and the bunt single so far. Just 1 for 11 this season, but a career .204 batter with a dozen home runs for Gallardo. Bob was talking about the advantage of being a good hitting pitcher and how when the Brewers have Gallardo on the mound, it's like they're using the DH.
Not a great DH, but a guy that you have to deal with up there, and not just for getting base hits, but he'll put one over the fence.
As he did last year against Wandy Rodriguez. April 29th last year was the last home run that he hit. It was off this lefty, and in fact Gallardo has hit 4 of his 12 career homers off Pirates pitchers.
Remember the one he hit off Ian Snell?
Yep. Tony Armas also gave up a home run when he was pitching for the Pirates, and Chris LaRue a couple years ago.
Wasn't it the Snell home run, and that was the game
the only run he gave up?
He won the game 1-0.
Yeah, the only run that Snell gave up.
Hit the solo home run off Snell.
And struck out 11. The third pitcher in Major League history to win a 1-0 game while striking out 10 or more and hitting a home run. Red Ruffing also did it in 1932, an early win in 1959. That was back on April 29th, 2009.
If something has only been done 3 times in baseball, you know it's pretty rare.
Strike out the first for Wandy Rodriguez. 2 away. New this season, the Coca-Cola Fan Pack. It's available every Sunday home game. It starts at $35 in advance. You'll receive a lower outfield box ticket, a fountain drink, hot dog, and a soft pretzel, all for $35 in advance. Get your tickets at the PNC Park ticket windows, or you can go to pirates.com/fanpack, the Coca-Cola Fan Pack. We want to remind you that the Pirates are back home starting on Tuesday night. 2 with Baltimore Interleague Series, and then 4 with the Washington Nationals. So your next opportunity to take advantage of that Coca-Cola Fan Pack, May 25th against the Nats. All 1 on Ricky Weeks. Double to the right center gap his first time. And takes the strike. Bucks would love to come away with a win here. Take 2 of 3, make it 4 straight series wins. And then that lead in the Central for Milwaukee over Pittsburgh would be down to 6.5. It's a little more manageable. It's still a big hill to climb.
Well, I still think that you got to stay focused on the Cardinals as far as the team to beat in the National League Central. I just, I like the Brewers. I think they're a good team. They've had a great start to their season.
You're just not convinced they're going to stay there, huh?
Not convinced they're going to stay at the top. That they're going to slowly move back to the rest of the pack.
Weeks with a fly ball deep to right field. Gone. Opposite field home run for Ricky Weeks. And it's 1-0 Milwaukee.
Now that probably makes him feel a little bit better after that base running blunder where he cost his team a run in the first inning.
Weeks' first home run this season. It's the 8th allowed by Wandy Rodriguez.
Yeah, Wandy right out over the outside half, about belt high. Rick, do you remember Weeks spraying the ball like he does now? Is it looking a little bit more of a pole hitter?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember him striking out a bunch more,
but
not spraying the ball like this.
I'm seeing him hitting a lot of balls to right field. Got to be the reason he's cut down on his strikeouts. No, he's not going up there thinking I'm going to pull the ball into my bullpen and hit a home run.
First home run this season for Ricky Weeks. And again, it is the 8th allowed by Wandy Rodriguez, and this is just the 5th start for this lefty. Segura bunted for a hit his first time up. Thought about it there. And it's 3-1. He walks Segura.
Well, want to walk people in front of Braun.
Braun bounced into the 1-6-3 double play in the first. Two-out opposite field home run for Ricky Weeks. It's the Brewers on the board. Weeks not playing as much, of course, the platoon, so this is just his 10th start. And we mentioned this the other night that he was asked by the Brewers if he'd be willing to play some outfield. They'd like to get his bat in there more often, and he said no, and now they pick off the runner. Quick throw, but too late, and into center field as it deflects off of Mercer's glove. So Segura ends up at third base when they had him picked off.
Well, that's what the base stealers are taught to do with a left-hander. You're going on first move, and it doesn't matter if he's throwing home or throwing to first. You're still just trying to steal the base. You're not going to look around, not going to do anything. Just get down there as fast as you can.
Segura.
They're going to move him back to second for some reason.
A balk was called initially, but
oh, okay.
Ron Renicki's checking that out.
He's got the oven mitt on.
So he's going to wind up at second base, and with 2 outs, it's not that big a deal.
No, base hit's going to score him no matter where he's at. The outfield has to play very deep with Braun up there.
Into center field, and McCutchen makes the catch. An opposite field home run for Ricky Weeks has the Brewers on the board first. 1-0 through 3.
Pirates Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by the Chevy Cruze and your Western PA Chevy dealers. And by Day Automotive. We're going to make your day. Let's go Bucks!
This day in Pirates history brought to you by Day Automotive. Is on this day in 1935, Pirates scored 20 runs. Beat the Phillies 20-5. 13th time in the history of the team the Bucks scored 20 or more. Something that has been done twice since that occurrence in 1935, May 15th. Clobber the Phillies 20-5. Here's Neil Walker. Walker takes a strike. He flied to left his first time up. Ball one.
We always like to answer that first run of the ball game. Get the middle part of the lineup up.
Soft liner.
That ball got in on him a little bit. He hit it very hard. Segura able to quickly move to his left and make that catch. Hey, did you have one of those pulled pork sandwiches they had in there today?
Did not. Why?
It's delicious. Delicious.
What makes you bring that up?
Well, Rock just came in. I saw him eating.
He did. Was he having that?
No, he was having nachos, but it just reminded me how good that sandwich was. Nice.
Kind of surprising.
Nice setup.
Was actually eating.
They got the press room right behind the booze. One of our favorite places to come eat.
No, not eating now.
No, he's hiding it. He's got a.
Oh, he noticed. Oh, they act like they didn't see it. Yeah, now. John and Tim.
He knows I just told on him about
Busted
the nachos.
On him, yeah. One ball, one strike to count on McCutchen. And that's in on him and grounded to third. And pulls Lucroy off the bag, and McCutchen grimaces in some kind of pain as he tries to avoid the tag. Says no, he's okay. He's kind of waving off Clint Hurdle. Lucroy is making his first start this season at third base, and Reynolds normally over there.
They've had a hard time with some throws from that side. He got his heel right on the very back edge of the base. It does look like a very uncomfortable move right there at the end. Right there. Segura's been bouncing some balls over from the shortstop position. He picked up a throwing error earlier.
Yep. So Reynolds' errant throw has McCutchen on at first, and Alvarez, who struck out in the first inning. Two balls, no strikes. McCutchen missed a game last homestand because of a sore foot. Ball bounced foul. Lucroy made 9 starts over there at first base last year. This is his first this season. The regular catcher.
They really need it right now to keep his bat in the lineup because they already have Gomez out. They got Ramos Ramirez out. Really hard to take Lucroy's bat out of there just because you want to get him a day off from catching. put him over at first base.
And close, but now it is 3-1. So what will Gallardo throw Alvarez here? He's got a number of options. Not afraid to throw anything, regardless of the count. Does not see a strike there, and 2 on for Gabby Sanchez. Second walk for Gallardo. Sanchez flied out to center field in the second inning.
They've opened a door of opportunity. With the air, you have the base on balls. Now we need somebody to get the big hit. I guess it's supposed to be a window of opportunity, isn't it? It's a door of opportunity.
Well, that's all right. It's just a bigger opportunity. Yeah.
Bases loaded, I think, should be a door.
I agree. Yeah. This would be a window, maybe?
Window.
Yeah. But if Gabby gets on, they load him up, then that's a door. Leave the door open a crack. What Bum Phillips said, busted it down, right? From our Oilers coach.
Bases loaded, 3-0 count. That's a garage door of opportunity.
1 ball, 1 strike on Gabby Sanchez. He lays off. Count goes to 2-1. Sanchez not chasing that off-speed pitch from Gallardo. Out of play. Gallardo does not throw as hard as he used to. It's the case with a lot of these pitchers when they first come into the league. Time is called as Maldonado wants to talk to him. That fastball was fouled away.
That's why it's easier to lay off those real close breaking balls like Gabby did. If he's still throwing the ball up there at 95 miles an hour, then you have to start to swing a little earlier. And you get more check swings on breaking balls that are borderline. Or maybe somebody actually has to swing at it, make contact. You get a little ground ball off the end of the bat somewhere. The velocity works in your favor more than just throwing a fastball by somebody. It changes the hitter's approach, makes your off-speed stuff that much more effective.
Bounce left side, diving stop. Mark Reynolds. They get the out there. What a play. He saves a run. The veteran Mark Reynolds diving to his left to rob Gabby Sanchez 2 away.
A little bit of a makeup play maybe for the error, taking away a base hit like that, getting it out.
Heck of a play by Mark Reynolds, the force at second.
And be able to get to his knees quickly enough. Make an accurate throw at second base. And as we know, Pedro, he moves down that line towards second a lot quicker than people give him credit for.
And Jordy Mercer
moved up in the lineup a little bit. Been hitting very well this month. We're seeing a lot of action down in the 8 spot in front of the pitcher. But
he's creeping up. Hit 7th last 2 nights, and now batting 6th. Tabata on deck. 1 ball, 1 strike. .308 career against Gallardo. Coming into the game, now he's dropped down a bit with his 0 for 1. 1-2 strikes. So Yovani Gallardo, who last year went 12-10 in 180 innings. Led the team in victories for the 4th straight season. And in his career against the Pirates, this is his 23rd appearance. 11-4, 2.63 ERA versus the Pirates. One and two on Mercer. That's going to be fouled off into the seats left side. Mercer's going to need a new bat.
Didn't like the first choice. Still to this day, it's hard for me to get used to guys licking their fingers standing on top of the mound. For all the years that wasn't allowed, you had to, if you wanted to go to your mouth, you had to go out on the grass, get off the dirt surface.
Dribbled toward Reynolds, up with it and on to first, and they get Mercer. Mark Reynolds, couple of really nice play. The first one he made, robbing Sanchez of a hit. The Pirates have a run. He makes a nice one here. It's still 1-0 Milwaukee. Rob, rained out last night, and that 3 spot looks like a mountain, I'm sure, to the Padres, because Johnny Cueto and his 1.31 ERA on the mound for the Reds in that game. The Reds 3rd place in the Central, 6.5 back of these Brewers. The Pirates a game behind Cincy. Fouled away by Lucroy.
Yeah, I think it's still very early in this race. Just about anybody still has as good a chance as anybody else. The Reds They haven't been off to the best start yet. They get it if they can get everybody healthy and guys having some normal years. They could be as tough as anyone. But it's these guys, the Brewers, that broke early out of the box.
Toward right center field, McCutchen over. Makes the catch. Lucroy sounded good off the bat. McCutchen there rather easily.
Shading over that direction, trying to take away that gap. Oh, he's limping a little bit, doesn't he? And not now that he's gone and did a job. Those are some flashy shoots.
Yeah. I like the look too from Kutch.
Those babies.
Who used to limp all the time, Bob, but that would fly? Mickey Rivers.
Yep.
Ball one on Mark Reynolds.
I'm trying to think somebody more recently that was always seemed to be.
Was Vince Coleman like that at all? Not really.
I don't think so. But there is somebody besides Rivers that played more in the National League.
He didn't necessarily limp, but he walked, I think.
He kind of pitched.
Juan Pierre kind of did that.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Juan Pierre could fly, but he would give you the
looked
idea
like
he
his
walked
feet
around
were
like,
hurting all the time. Beck McBride. That's not recent, but
3-1 count on Reynolds. And he walked him. What? Wow. My goodness.
the ball's right there, Greg. I don't know what you're talking about. That's a strike.
Wow.
Tell me that's not a strike. That looked pretty good to me. What? Yeah, that's right there. Look at that light up the strike zone. Come on.
C.V. Bucknor, he'll hear it from both benches, but all they really care about is consistency.
That was a strike.
High fly ball to left.
Now it's an out.
Very high fly ball. 2 outs. Reynolds still not happy. Here's up Chris Davis.
We showed the replay. It lit up the strike zone. Umpires supposed to call those strikes. They're getting graded by that strike zone. The computer would have said he missed one if he hadn't called that a strike.
Broken bat bouncer, and there's a little, not much confusion, but 2 converging infielders, Walker and Mercer. Mercer makes the play. On this week's Inside Pirates Baseball, Neil Walker makes an impact at the plate. Pirates pitching roster is picking off base runners at a high rate this season, and much more. Inside Pirates Baseball is presented by Allegheny Health Network today after postgame on Root Sports. 1-0 on to the 5th here in Milwaukee. Chilly outside and cool conditions inside.
I'm not sure how much baseball we would have been playing if they didn't have the dome this trip. A lot of wet weather these 3 days.
A ball and a strike on Tabata, lined out to right field his first time up. Don't look now, and it is only 4 innings, but Pirates don't have a hit yet. Gallardo has walked 2. McCutchen reached on an error last inning. Start to get some attention if Pirates don't get a hit here in the 5th. And there is a base hit.
Nice jinx.
Thanks, Bob.
That
I knew it would work.
Yeah,
I knew it would happen. It's so easy. It's amazing how that can happen. How we can determine what goes on in that field. The power that we have.
Oh, well, I mean, this was at least half this hit goes to you.
Thank you. You're welcome, Jose.
I said half. He did his part.
I know, but if not for me, he wouldn't have gotten a hit.
It would have been closer.
Well, hey, close is no hit, man. Come on.
It might have gone off a glove, and then we would have had to wait for a decision to score.
Or maybe wait a week later, like they did David Ortiz. How about that? Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't.
Well, you know, Darvish flirted with perfect game first of all, and then a no-hitter.
I didn't hear about that.
Okay, Texas against Boston last week. In the 7th inning, Ortiz hits a pop-up to shallow right. Second baseman goes out, right fielder comes in. Easy pop-up, it drops between them. The official scorer ruled it an error to keep the no-hitter intact. And eventually, Ortiz broke up the no-hit bid in the 9th inning. But there was much consternation, confusion. Some were angry that the official scorer did that to save Darvish, and he said afterward that there was some kind of conference among official scorers over the winter where they were told to, on plays like that, even though the ball doesn't touch a glove, rule an error. It's a play that should have been routinely made. Well, lo and behold, last night they changed the call to a hit for Ortiz, so he got 2 hits instead of the 1.
Well, they should have left it an error, and I do agree with over the years there's been a lot of routine pop flies, fly balls where it should be caught. You get 2 players looking at each other, the ball lands there and it goes as an extra base hit or just a single or whatever. I've always said that you give an error to somebody. I don't care which one of them. Pick one.
Tony Sanchez, a fly ball hit well toward right field. A chance, clear the deck. Cannonball coming. Say hello to his little friend. Tony Montana Sanchez hits a 2-run homer, and the Pirates lead it 2-1.
Tony's got pretty good opposite field power. I remember that first hit in Anaheim where he pounded one, got stuck in the scoreboard.
That was his first hit, right?
Yeah. That ball to right center.
Tony Sanchez, opposite field home run.
Didn't try to pull that ball away from him, went with it.
His 3rd career homer, hit 2 last year. And Gallardo.
Well, you jinxed him good. He lost the shutout too.
It's the least I could do, Bob. And now Wandy Rodriguez with a base hit off Segura's glove.
Can't get any else all of a sudden.
Tony Sanchez, who did not play the first 2 games of the series. Edson Volquez likes it.
play. Sometimes they'll find a hole. I mean, that's the thing about, we're talking about good hitting pitchers, have that advantage. Some guys just aren't naturally talented enough to be the good hitting pitcher, but you can, get yourself better to where you're just not an automatic out either, to where you can put some balls in play, and then you're going to find a hole for a base hit occasionally. As long as you can get the ball put in play, avoid those easy strikeouts. And that's kind of what, I think right there, Wanda, just you hit a ground ball, sometimes there's nobody there to catch it.
Now, be honest now, how were you when you first, came to the big, did you make yourself
I was
decent?
never a good hitter.
Decent, though, like Wandy.
I had 230 in high school. I mean, how good of a hitter could I have been?
That's not true. The big leagues, you would put the ball in play.
Yeah, if there's runners on base and stuff, I would choke up. I would just try to, get a ball put in play out there somewhere and hope I would get lucky. I mean, and that's kind of what I'm talking about. How you can do that. You go up there and
like you said, not a great hitter necessarily.
If you go up there and you think it's a softball game, you're going to try to hit a home run. You're going to strike out all the time.
Now it's 3-1 on Travis Snider. This inning began with a base hit by Talbot, and then Tony Sanchez hit his first home run of the season. Wandy Rodriguez with a base hit. 3-1 count on Snider. 3-2. Three balls, two strikes. Oh my. Strikes him out looking.
So the location of the pitch before that was quite a bit lower than that one.
Neil Walker at the plate. Takes ball one. Lined out his last time up. Tony Sanchez helping the cause. Now 2-0. Former first-round pick of the Pirates, Tony Sanchez, back in 2009. Continues to work extremely hard, especially on the defensive part of the game.
Throwing.
Basically, comes down to throwing.
I think the other stuff, blocking balls, receiving the pitches, in a quiet, soft hands man. I think he does a good job of all that stuff. And the arm strength is there, just occasionally off target.
And a base hit to right for Walker. Moves Rodriguez to second. Four hits in this inning for the Pirates. Gallardo now faces Andrew McCutchen. McCutchen has struck out and reached on an error.
That pad on his left shin. Looking at it again as he was walking up. There's some thickness to it. Some size.
Ball and a strike.
A nice walk by Maldonado. Letting him come up, taking the chest protector.
The Pirates picked up Chris Stewart in a trade over the winter with the Yankees. General Manager Neil Huntington said that the Pirates would rank right up there, maybe as high as third in terms of behind the plate defense. Their catching tandem of Russell Martin and Chris Stewart. This ball's bounced to short, and Segura, nice little play to get the one. Oh, looked like he wanted to take off on Segura. Stayed with it, got the out at second.
Yeah, that was a nice little pickup to get the one. And if it was somebody else running, they might have turned this into a double play. That was quite a throw Weeks put on sidearm, firing that ball to first. Well, there's that tough hop. And then Weeks with that sidearm throw, he had something on that.
Well done by Gene Segura. Gets a big out. Now Pedro Alvarez. Alvarez has struck out and walked. Oh, we're talking about defense behind the plate. Neil Huntington has mentioned Jonathan Lucroy and Martin Maldonado. Maybe the top defensive tandem in the National League and in the American League. In Tampa Bay, Ryan Hannigan and Jose Molina. Today, Maldonado catches and Lucroy plays first. Takes 2-0. You have the shift. 3 infielders on the right side, and Weeks playing several steps onto the outfield grass with Segura swung over on the right side of second. Alvarez, the 7th man to hit in this inning. And you see the pitches, not one has been in the strike zone, but a count of 2-1. Ground ball, and second baseman Weeks in shallow right field. He just does get Alvarez. Close play, but Weeks gets him. Out in shallow right. Meantime, Tony Sanchez is a 2-run homer, his first of the year, to erase a 1-0 deficit. Go to the bottom of the 5th in Milwaukee. Pirates now lead 2-1. A 2-1 lead with his first home run of the season. Going to the bottom of the 5th. And our Allegheny Health Network injury update. Aramis Ramirez on the DL with a strained left hamstring. Retroactive to May 11th, having a strong season. And with more on that, let's go downstairs to Robbie Inspikowski.
Well, 4 months ago, Aramis Ramirez, Greg and Bob, would have been happy to only be worrying about a hamstring issue. His father, Victor, passed away from colon cancer at the age of 61. So Ramirez is only 35, so he wanted to get a colonoscopy just to be on the safe side. Well, sure enough, a non-malignant polyp was found, and he had surgery to remove it, which delayed his start to spring training. Luckily, he does not have cancer, but he's thankful he was checked at an age earlier than most people would. And as we've seen, he's back at full strength, obviously on the DL right now, but off to a good start this season before suffering the hamstring issue. So we're all happy that everything is good on that side of the health docket for Aramis Ramirez, a former Pirate.
Yeah, Robbie, Aramis Ramirez, now 35 years old. We remember when he came to Pittsburgh in 1998. In fact, he made his big league debut in this city at Old County Stadium. In 1998, there's a strike called on Maldonado, and he's not happy with C.B. Buckner.
It was a strike. I remember Aramis. I don't remember who the pitcher was, but he charged the mound here.
Yes, that's right. That was Javier Vasquez. And a drive to left, and this will tie the game. That was crushed by Maldonado, his second. Two ball game.
Yeah, definitely got something upstairs about belt high. Didn't need to watch that. Oh, he easily got out. You know, one of the things that with Wandy this afternoon, he's going to be on a short leash. You wonder, even if he doesn't give up any more runs, will he throw any more than, say, 5 or 6 innings? His first start coming off the DL. Heck, the Brewers didn't even let Braun go more than 6, and he doesn't even pitch. He just kind of stands in the outfield. So they'll be watching Wandy here more closely. This will be pitch number 60, which is no big deal.
Takes care of Logan Schaefer on 3 pitches. His second strikeout.
I don't think that's a good result. That's an 0-2 curveball, just right down the pipe. You got the swing and a miss, but that shows you that Wandy might not be throwing the ball with the control that he normally needs. Need to locate that curveball much better than that on an 0-2 pitch. That's an example, Greg, of guys saying, "Oh, I threw one bad pitch." Because there's a number of pitches during a ball game that are not good pitches, but they're swung and missed, they're popped up, they're fouled off, they're taken for a strike, and you just don't notice it.
Two and one on Gallardo. 3-1. Maldonado's home run, his second in 26 at bats this season.
Is there a sport with more cliches than baseball?
Can't imagine. Yeah,
it's amazing. I was sitting there thinking about I threw one bad pitch. I mean, that's one of the ones you hear all the time. But it's like the sport is built around statistics and cliches.
Yep. Still 3-2. I told you Gallardo with a dozen home runs, the most in Milwaukee Brewers history among pitchers. Of course, the Brewers for the longest time were an American League club. And now time is called as Tony Sanchez wants to go out and talk now with Wandy Rodriguez, discuss how they could put away Gallardo. And that did it. Gallardo not pleased with the call. But he's caught looking.
Well, you can't ever say anything as a pitcher.
Yeah, of course not. Yeah.
And that's what the needs anyway. There's nothing to complain about. He's been getting some pitches that called strikes. I mean, I think of the pitch that he got called strikes when Travis Snyder was hitting last at bat. So what are you going to say? You just walk back to the dugout.
Well, Ricky Weeks has hit the ball hard the other way against Wandy Rodriguez, both at bats, a double off the wall in right center field and a home run over the wall in right. Now with that, Bob, do you try and pitch in on Weeks more than you have? Well, that pitch was down and in.
Well, yeah, I think that that has to be the plan of attack. It's not like he's way off the plate. Got his toes almost up on the chalk line inside. You can't stay on either side. You have to, work both sides of the plate. With somebody that's really concentrating on hitting the ball the other way, you have to make him honest. You need to kind of aim right about where that chalk line is, in between the plate and where he's standing.
Fouls that one off in 1-2. So they've gone in a couple of times here against Weeks.
And if he doesn't want you in there, especially if you get a strike call in there, now he's got to do something about it. He's got to be a little quicker. He's got to think about pulling the ball. Theoretically, that gives you back the outside part of the plate. All theories and more cliches. That's it right there. That's where you got to throw it.
Two and two. And a full count on Weeks.
Yeah, you can see again that's an example of the rustiness of the control, especially the off-speed stuff. He put change up there. If he throws that change up close to the strike zone, he probably gets a swing on it. But he bounced it way out in front. Weeks could easily say no to that.
Struck him out swinging after the home run by Maldonado that tied it. He strikes out Schaefer, Gallardo, and Weeks. But the Maldonado homer has tied it through 5. Ray Searage seated next to Wandy Rodriguez. 2-2 ball game. The Nissan Road ahead for the Pirates. It's on to Yankee Stadium. And the matchups, Edinson Volquez goes up against David Phelps. Tomorrow night, Saturday afternoon, Charlie Morton against Hiroki Kuroda. And then Vidal Nuno on the hill for the Yankees against Garrett Cole on Sunday. What a matchup that'll be. Cole turned down the Yankees initially. First round pick by the Pirates, but prior to that, before going to UCLA, Yankees picked him. Big Yankee fan. Gabby Sanchez hits this ball hard into right center field, and that one is gone. Gabby Sanchez, a home run to give the Pirates the lead again. His fourth. It's now a 3-2 Pirate advantage. Well, that is answering in a hurry. Well, the Sanchez boys, Tony and Gabby, with the long balls.
Yeah, this ballpark playing a little bit more like we're used to seeing here. Balls hit well, easily getting out of here. Gabby, that was, even though it was opposite field, it's still pretty much no doubt when it left.
Onto the Toyota Plaza there.
Got way over the fence. That's got to be a good. What do you think, Rick? 20 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
The railing that he hit it over.
Shows you the power that guy has, right?
Yeah, he doesn't need to pull the ball to hit a home run. That's for sure. He can pound it out. It really is off to a great start.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. He's really kind of quietly had a really solid season.
He is such a great team player. He never complains at all about what his situation is. I'm sure he would love to be playing more, be an everyday player like he was in Miami, but keeps his mouth shut, does his job, and does it well.
And remember over the winter, all the talk was that it was going to be Gabby Sanchez for the most part playing with a platoon situation of Andrew Lambeau, and that Lambeau was going to kind of spell Gabby Sanchez on occasion. It wasn't going to be a straight platoon. And Gabby would play against a lot of right-handed pitchers. Well, then, as it turned out, Travis Ishikawa made the club out of spring training. And then Ishikawa and Gabby Sanchez split some time. Then Gabby Sanchez was playing a lot more than Ishikawa, almost every day. And then the Pirates go and trade for Ike Davis. But as Bob said, you never hear a word out of Gabby Sanchez.
Last year, this was maybe about halfway through the season, or maybe just a little bit at the second half. Jay Bell telling me on the side that Gabby is back to where he was in Miami. You just don't notice it because you don't see the at-bats out there very often. But he is a very dangerous hitter.
Gabby Sanchez had back-to-back 19 home run seasons with the Marlins. His first 2 years in the big leagues. Justin Wilson loosens in the bullpen as the Pirates approach the pitcher spot. Two-two count on Tabata. He got the rally started last inning with a ground single up the middle. He lined out to right his first at bat. Gallardo has given up 6 home runs this season, and this is his 9th start. Breaking pitch misses badly. 3-2. Gets Tabata. Gallardo's 4th punch out, 2 down. Leadoff home run for Gabby Sanchez. Pirates lead 3-2. Here is Tony Sanchez, the 2-run homer last inning. Ike Davis comes out on deck to hit for Wandy Rodriguez. If you were watching the start of our telecast, you saw Bob Walk's secrets, tips to win, and one of his tips was the bullpen for the Pirates, figuring that Wandy Rodriguez was not going to go deep. Looks as though he might just go 5. Once again, Milwaukee is on again. Even some tips that weren't in there that he talked about at dinner, Bob. He said, watch the long ball from the Pirates. And I'm not sure if he even, I think I heard him say maybe one of the Sanchez's. I don't know if he said them both. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2-1. You're a Mexican.
The theory is if you say enough stuff, some of it's going to happen.
Yeah, but everything you said so far is right on the money.
No, Greg, we won't get into the stuff I said. We'll leave that out of it.
Two and 1 on Tony Sanchez with 2 outs, and the Pirates up 3-2.
I did not pick the Sanchez for the home runs.
Well, you did say, no, seriously, you did say home runs.
3 home runs today.
Okay, so you're 2/3 of the way there. You made the call, so that's a fact. Tony and Gabby with home runs. Gallardo gets Tony Sanchez after giving up the leadoff home run to Gabby Sanchez. He crushed his 4th well over the right center field wall. Powers the Pirates to a 3-2 lead. Gabby Sanchez, the home run, gives the Pirates a 3-2 lead. Head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Get a behind-the-scenes look at PNC Park with a tour. Access to the dugout, batting cages, press box, the Pirates clubhouse, and much more. Tours run through the rest of the season. Tickets start as low as $7. Group pricing also available. Go to pirates.com/PNC Park Tours, or you can stop by the PNC Park ticket windows. Gabby Sanchez and Tony Sanchez with home runs. Wandy Rodriguez goes the minimum 5 in order to get a W, and now it's the bullpen.
That'll hold it for 4 innings. Put up 4 zeros. Justin Wilson will hopefully put up the first one. Not getting quite the strikeout numbers that you would kind of think that he would get. He's close, but just not yet. A big fastball of his, you'd expect him pretty regularly get more strikeouts than innings pitched.
Well, that's nice, though.
1 pitch, 1 out.
Yeah.
Well, when it comes down to it, that's really the way you would like to pitch, is just be efficient, get quick outs. But when you're one of those guys that can throw upper 90s, you're expected to get strikeouts.
The Pirates, interestingly enough, last year the staff had the third most strikeouts in the National League. But coming into this game, they had the second fewest strikeouts in the National League, behind only the Colorado Rockies. A couple of pitchers there, Charlie Morton and Edison Volquez.
You lost a lot of strikeouts. Batman left.
A.J. Burnett struck out close to 200. Ball one on Ryan Braun. Well, that's a significant shift. Again, last year, third most strikeouts in the National League, now the second fewest. One ball, one strike on Ryan Braun. He's hit a double play and lined out. Garrett Cole usually registers his fair share of punch outs. See him on Sunday at Yankee Stadium. He'll be ready for that one. And Braun bounces this ball to Walker. So a very efficient start to Justin Wilson's inning.
Not a very Braun-like swing that time. Feeling for the ball, trying to get it put in play.
Braun was going to have a rehab game early in the week, but that got rained out in the minor league, so he joined the club. Played 5 innings the first night, and last night, did he go 8 or 9, Bob?
He went 8.
He went 8. Okay. See if he'll go 9 today. Jonathan Lucroy has grounded out and flied out. He's the third toughest man to strike out in the National League, Lucroy. One and one. Three for 9 in the series. Foul away, fastball 96. And Justin Wilson out ahead. Lucroy 1 ball and 2 strikes.
That ball, foul ball. Did you see where it hit, Greg?
No.
Very young child.
Oh,
that hit the padding right in front of him.
Oh my goodness!
And he was actually standing up against the padding when it happened.
Well, there you have it. Wilson gets the strikeout against, as we said, the man who's the third toughest to punch out in the league. 1-2-3 for Justin Wilson. 3-2 Pirates.
For a bunch, okay. Lead by a run at 3-2. Today was good news for Pirates owner Bob Nutting. He was named part of a council that is going to perform the search for a new commissioner. The executive committee features 7 owners throughout Major League Baseball, and Bob Nutting is going to be one of them. The committee is going to be chaired by Bill DeWitt of the St. Louis Cardinals, other owners, Dick Mumford of the Rockies, Dave Montgomery from the Phillies, Arte Moreno from Anaheim, the Polads from Minnesota, and Jerry Reinsdorf with the Chicago White Sox. And they are in charge of making the recommendations to see who will be the successor to Bud Selig, who is going to end his term coming up on January 24th, 2015. And Greg, Bud Selig been in the executive chair, the commissioner's chair, I should say, since September 1992. So Bob Nutting in good standing with Major League Baseball, going to help find his successor.
Well, that is extremely interesting when you consider, Robbie, that Bob Nutting being part of that committee, and Pirates president Frank Coonley spent a lot of time in the commissioner's office. So they have 2 gentlemen. I'm sure that Bob Nutting would rely heavily on Frank Coonley, some of his recommendations. Very familiar with that commissioner's office. And here we are in Milwaukee. This is the franchise, of course, that Bud Selig brought from Seattle, the Pilots, to Milwaukee. Eventually, this franchise was sold to Mark Attanasio. And a strike 3 on Justin Wilson, who has his first at bat of this season. And strikes out looking against Gallardo. Zach Duke, former Pirate, is going to perhaps come on with Travis Snyder due up. Ron Renicky. No motion to Zach Duke. Gallardo will go 6 1/3 and will leave trailing 3-2.
The authority of the Pittsburgh Pirates, and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
It's a 3-2 Pirates lead with 1 out in the top of the 7th inning. The Pirates are looking for their 4th consecutive series win after going 6-3 on their recent homestand. And after losing the first game of this series, they came back, bounced back, a 4-1 victory last night. And Tony Sanchez hit a 2-run homer in the top of the 5th, erasing a 1-0 deficit. And after it was tied up in the 5th, next inning, Gabby Sanchez homered. And here's former Pirate Zach Duke, who will now face Starling Marte. Marte will pinch hit for Travis Snyder.
You see, Zach's having a pretty good year. 150 ERA, 156. 22 strikeouts in 17 innings. Pretty impressive.
Facing Marte, who hits for Snyder. Marte did not start. He had a conversation in Clint Hurdle's office today, and it was decided after that conversation he would not start. But as Hurdle said before the game that Marte could come off the bench. Now is in the hole 0-2. Marte did not have good numbers against Gallardo over his career, just a 188 average against Gallardo. Now he faces the lefty Duke.
I don't think Gallardo was real happy about coming out of this ball game. A couple of times walking off, he was kind of shaking his head.
No chance for a W now. One ball, 2 strikes. And Duke gets another strikeout.
Came from Laredo with that one. Drop down and sidearm action.
Now 31 years old. He made his major league debut here in Milwaukee back in 2005. A great rookie season. Strike on Walker. Walker had another hit last night from this side of the plate. What a difference a year makes for Neil Walker.
He's among the league leaders in left-handed pitching.
Currently hitting 400, 10 hits and 25 at bats versus southpaws. Don't hear the question anymore, do you? When is Walker going to consider giving up batting from this side? There's a bouncer to Reynolds. He retires Walker. The Bucks go down in order. It's 7th inning stretch time here in Milwaukee. Buccos lead it 3-2. Justin Wilson will be coming on for the bottom of the 7th. AT&T fan photos.
What do we got?
Check it out. Hey, how about that? Melissa Cooper. Nice shot there. And
yeah, we got a dog.
Jamie's got the puppy with the Raise the Jolly Roger t-shirt, and the baby, Allie, with the pirate shirt on.
You know the recipe now. Kids and dogs.
Starling Marte stays in the game. He's in left. Jose Tabata moves from left to right. Justin Wilson Faces Mark Reynolds. Very late there on that fastball. Justin Wilson looking for an extended outing after his 1-2-3, bottom of the 6th. And out of play.
Yeah, he got through his first inning. What, 8 pitches? No problem at all. Go out, throw another one.
This would be just what the doctor, or in this case the manager, ordered Clint Hurdle. Rather than having to use a second pitcher, if he can get Wilson to get through 2 innings. This ball's popped up. Sanchez didn't see it initially, but it's out of play. Last time that Justin Wilson, by the way, pitched more than 1 inning was August 2nd of last year against the Colorado Rockies. He went 1 2/3 innings. He's one-time starter in the minor leagues. Takes care of Mark Reynolds. 4 up and 4 down for Justin Wilson.
Well, nice job setting up this last pitch. All that hard stuff upstairs, and then came down and in with that breaking ball.
So with no one warming in the Pirates bullpen, no doubt Clint Hurdle wants 2 innings out of him, and have to go back even further. The last time that Justin Wilson went 2 full innings, July 8th of last year against the Oakland Athletics.
Oh, you know, the bullpen has covered 4 innings. You have the lead. Gotta extend somebody.
You know, last year, the beginning of the first like 3 months or so, Wilson a handful of times went 2. In fact, one time 3 innings.
You start the year off kind of at the bottom of the total pole out there, which means you're the long man. You inherit that job if you're, you know, one of the bottom guys.
And then toward the end of the year, also, I think that Hurdle wanted to almost back off a little bit, because remember Wilson wasn't used for a time.
Yeah, he went about
a couple of weeks, didn't he, without being thrown?
Kind of almost like a stealth DL.
Yeah. Stays 0-2 on Chris Davis.
But he did pitch his way. He pitched so well. He pitched his way up to where he was throwing later and later in ball games, pitching in games that you had a lead in later, and when that happens, then that cuts down on your innings. If you're the guy that comes in the 4th, now you're going to be out there a while. Wow. I was talking about need to work on strikeouts, get him up on that.
How about 3 in a row now?
He's doing that. Yeah, this is what you see power guys do. I think the no contact swings, not even a foul tip.
Looking for a perfect 2 innings of work here. And this is Maldonado, Martin Maldonado, who homered in the 5th off of Wandy Rodriguez at the time and tied the game. Earlier, Ricky Weeks homered off of Wandy Rodriguez. One ball, 1 strike. No strikeouts to start this 7th inning for Justin Wilson. And now out in front of Maldonado, 1-2. Wilson was a 5th-round pick of the Pirates 6 years ago. Out of Fresno State. Starter in the minor leagues. Made his big league debut 2 years ago. And he strikes out the last 4 batters he faces. A perfect 2 innings of work for Justin Wilson. 3-2 Pirates in Milwaukee. Wilson with 2 sparkling innings of relief. Talking with Tony Sanchez. College students get up to $10 off select Pirates tickets this season. Bring your friends to cheer on the Buccos all season long at PNC Park. Go to pirates.com/student. See all the eligible game dates for the student discounts. 34,743 here today to see the concluding game of this series. It's the last game of their homestand. And now Tyler Thornburg takes over as Zach Duke pitches to 2 batters in the 7th.
That's pretty impressive work by Wilson. He only threw like 21, 22 pitches. Get those kind of strikeouts and be that efficient. Kind of gives everybody a nice lift. You have your starter go just 5 innings. You kind of knew that going in. You only have a 1-run lead. And then the first guy out of the bullpen goes out and just dominates for the next 2 innings.
Yeah, what a great feeling.
There's everybody a little momentum going to the win. There's left-handed Kohart. Tony Watson, he'll take over in the 8th.
Two and 0. There he is. Tony Watson. Tenth time in his career that he's gone 2 or more innings. Justin Wilson. And what a boost of confidence. Not that he hasn't been pitching well anyway, but boy, just dominant in 2 full innings. 6 up and 6 down. And a 4-pitch walk to Andrew McCutchen to start the 8th as the Bucks look for insurance. Ron Renicky pulled Gallardo after 6 1/3, brought in Zach Duke, who got the last 2 outs of the 7th. And now he has Tyler Thornburg out there. Facing Alvarez, who was 0 for 2 with a walk against Gallardo. Thornburg has not given up a home run this season. 18 1/3 innings. He's 3-1. He's walked 10 and punched out 21. Opponents batting just 182 against Thornburg, third-round pick of the Brewers 4 years ago. There goes McCutchen in the dirt, and Maldonado loses the baseball and throws phantomly towards second, and a stolen base for McCutchen.
I don't know if McCutchen was able to look in at the signs and see that he was going to throw a hook, but nice pitch to run on. Get that breaking ball down in the dirt.
At first slide, didn't realize, of course, that Maldonado was throwing nothing but air.
Always want to run on that off-speed pitch. Gives you a pretty good advantage.
Andrew McCutchen picks up steal number 5, 5 for 5 in the stolen base department. His second this month and his first since May the 2nd.
Pedro will have to steal another one now.
He goes one up on Alvarez. Three and one.
Pedro needs to get out and hook a ball now. Make sure that even if he makes an out, he moves a touch over to third base. They'll have to bring the infield in then.
McCutchen at second with no one out, and the Pirates leading by 1. Thornburg steps off. 3 infielders on the right side. No one between McCutchen and Mark Reynolds. Odd look. And ball 4. 2 aboard. I guess if you're a base runner there, Bob, at second base, you never have to worry about looking over your right shoulder.
No, there's no way to look at it.
You can just stare at the guy at second, and you could probably just backpedal.
Yeah.
And then the minute he starts to go towards second, you can walk back to the bat.
It makes getting a lead a fairly simple thing. You know, I was thinking about that during that pitch. The pitch before, Segura was out on the edge of the grass, and I was thinking he can't stay there. Cutch will be able to steal third without a throw, but that last pitch he ended up moving in and actually kind of was taking a little bit of a step towards second base. And Thornburg went into a stretch, kind of giving the impression that, hey, you know, I might, and maybe the fact that Thornburg had stepped off previously had like, oh, we want to watch this guy. I think Thornburg, he stepped off because he realized, hey, that's one of the fastest guys in the league, and we're not even like holding him on.
A visit to the mound by pitching coach Rick Kranitz. Gabby Sanchez homered in the 6th inning off Gallardo. Two walks here in the 8th inning. And Thornburg falls behind Gabby Sanchez 2-0, and he's starting to dig himself a hole here. He wants to keep the Pirates close, down just a run. But a 2-0 count. And now Maldonado calls time and wants to talk with Thornburg.
He's in some trouble right now. First, second. There's nobody out. It's a 2-0 count. I'd say this is a door of opportunity, Greg.
A door. quite the garage door yet. Rob Wooten loosening.
No, it's a door. It's a solid door, not a window. This is a door.
Renicky agrees. And fouls off the fastball. It's 2-1. Talking about Gabby Sanchez, his last at bat, and what an outstanding teammate he is. Pirates acquired him from the Marlins 2 years ago. 2-1 count on Gabby Sanchez. In the dirt, 3-1. Thornburg has now walked 11 batters in 18 and a third innings. He's also struck out 21. He is in danger of loading them up for Jordy Mercer. Gabby Sanchez should get a good pitch to hit here. And he what a play by Mark Reynolds. Incredible play. Turns it into 2. Oh my goodness. Oh. Pirates are going to contest perhaps that play at first, but meanwhile a sensational play by Mark Reynolds. Ball was scorched by Gabby Sanchez.
This is just a rocket down there. How did he catch it? A perfect feed to Weeks. There's the bullet. It goes to the backhand. Throw to Weeks, chest high right over the back.
Well, you don't often think about Mark Reynolds' defense. He's been a power hitter over the years. Most of his career with the Diamondbacks as a third baseman. He's been playing a lot of first base this year with Aramis Ramirez at third, but he has turned in a couple of Gold Glove caliber plays here in this game, topping his day off with that one. And that ball's maybe down toward the wall and left. It was hit so hard, and at least a couple of runs would have scored. Now
I got to believe you. You're right. That ball's going to go into the corner. Come up with that one.
Ron Renicki's going to make a double switch. Tyler Thornburg has his third baseman to thank for leaving with only one man on at third base and now 2 outs. Renicki will go back to the bullpen. Mark Reynolds. The Pirates to lead by just 1. They've got McCutchen at third now with 2 outs. Jeff Bianchi takes over at third base in this double switch. Reynolds will be going over to first base. Martin Maldonado out of the game, so Jonathan Lucroy, who had been playing first, will now catch. And the new pitcher is Rob Wooten. Pitcher's spot due up second in the bottom of this 8th inning. It's going to be a little bit weird for a catcher playing first base the whole game, as Reynolds again just made some great plays over at third base, now at first, and now Jonathan Lucroy late in the ball game has to get his catcher's equipment on. And catches Rob Wooten.
He's thrown just 8 innings this year in 9 games. He had to be thinking when he was warming up, well, I might be coming into a mess, but they cleaned it up. Now he's just got to get 1 out. Still just a 1-run ball game. Great play by Reynolds. You can make it kind of sting a little bit. Still get that run home now after that great play.
Yeah, that would hurt. Mercer could deliver here.
Working over that gum.
Wooten out in front, 1-2. Mercer twice grounded out against Gallardo, the starter, and fly to right field. Just stays alive. One ball, 2 strikes, the count on Mercer. Inning 3-10, 7th inning or later. Almost got a piece of Pirates shortstop. Just missed. 2-2.
Got a pretty good pitch on a 1-2 count to try to come in on the hands with the fastball. You have the hitter. He's in a 2-strike mode trying to protect.
And he gets Mercer, and the Pirates, who were setting up shop, do not score as Gabby Sanchez is robbed by Mark Reynolds. Still 3-2. Justin Wilson with 2 sparkling innings of relief, facing 6, retiring each, and striking out the last 4 batters he faced. After Wandy Rodriguez went 5 innings, gave up 2 runs, it is Wandy Rodriguez's game to win. Wilson certainly did his part, his first 2-inning stint of the season and 10th of his career, and now it's Tony Watson.
Tony Watson has been doing his part pretty much every time he gets the baseball this year. 4-0 record coming out of the pen. Pretty special, but doing a lot of good 8th-inning work as he was asked to do here. But going back real quick to finishing up one last thought with Wilson is getting those strikeouts. It wasn't all about the power of the fastball either. He was doing some good pitching, set up a couple of breaking balls down and in for some swings and misses.
Yeah, it wasn't just the power. He was pitching.
Those were two strong innings in more ways than just having good stuff.
Elliot Herrera, the switch hitting outfielder, will bat for Logan Schaefer, the left-handed hitting center fielder. And a couple of quick strikes on him. Herrera last night was 0 for 4. Saw Clint Hurdle come out to the mound last night in the 7th inning with Brian Morris on the hill. There was a runner at third base. Pinch hitter Scooter Gennett was coming to the plate, left-handed hitter. I wondered why Hurdle would go. Oh, strike 3 called on the fastball. Well, Watson picks up where Wilson left off, 1 away.
Hey, he got ahead, went inside, locked him up.
Well, that is 5 straight Brewers struck out.
Get ahead, try to throw the fastball in on the hands because you have the hitter being defensive, and if you make the perfect pitch, you get the call.
Perfect pitch, got the call.
What did Clint say about the visit?
Well, I wondered why, I said, did you go out there and just tell him that you were going to intentionally walk the guy? He said, well, I wanted to let them know that that's what we're going to do. And then I also wanted to deliver the message to the home plate umpire, Dana Asonia, to watch Herrera, because there are times when Herrera will almost kind of swinging bunt-like, and oftentimes is out of the box when he does it. He's kind of in motion. And I wanted to remind him of that. I just thought it was kind of unusual. You go out to the mound.
We called everybody in.
Walk, yeah, the whole infield.
The whole infield called in, talked to everybody. I speculated that they were talking about what he wanted him to do in case he tried a double steal after the intentional walk.
Which could have been the case if he said this. If this happens, and let everybody know how we're playing it defensively. So Herrera strikes out looking, and now it's 2-1 on Jeff Bianchi. And now it's 2-2, and you got to think there's friendly competition going on here with Justin Wilson and his left-handed mate, his buddy Tony Watson.
I mean, they push each other. And I was talking last night about this. I'm going to repeat myself now that Watson has really evolved as a pitcher. You remember his first year, he'd just do that. Just go fastball, 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 fastball. Now Tony gets out there. He pitches all the time. Moves the ball both sides of the plate. Throws his changeup, throws his breaking ball. I mean, he is always pitching. But look at that control. Did the glove even move?
I don't think so.
And Tony's got the target there, and there's the ball. Just hits it. You could have put one of them little tiny Dixie cups up there, and he would have just smoked it with a fastball.
Here's Ricky Weeks. Well, Wilson hands the ball to his buddy Watson, and look what has happened. He strikes out the first 2 in the 8th. 6 straight Brewers have been struck out. Ball 1 on Ricky Weeks. He was one of 4 strikeouts by the starter Wandy Rodriguez. Weeks also doubled his first at bat and homered in the 3rd inning, his first of the year.
Change up. 1-0 change up. Hitter gets ahead. Maybe he's thinking, okay, 1-run ball game. I'm going to pick a spot to see if I can drive a ball here. And what's it get? It gets a change up. Pull a string on it. And of course, Tony's putting down these fingers. He's making these calls.
1 and 2.
After the change it, we come back with a 94-mile-an-hour fastball.
Now what do you do? Well, anything's available now to Tony Watson.
Now you have the hitter on his back leg.
Tony Gabby Sanchez waiting till Weeks is in and not looking, and now it's 1-2.
Glancing up, make sure that the hitter's not looking down at the sign.
And Weeks breaks the string. The fastball up the middle on a 1-2 pitch.
Missed his spot. Didn't hit the Dixie Cup that time. Missed by quite a bit. That was supposed to be a fastball in. And even if that ball would have went through, you would have saw Tony have to reach way out and backhand that ball.
Well, that was some kind of string, by the way. Going back to Wandy Rodriguez, 11 straight had been retired, and 9 of the last 11 batters were struck out by Pirates pitchers. Unbelievable. Wandy Rodriguez, after giving up the home run to Maldonado in the 5th, struck out the last 3 he faced. Segura bunt single in the 1st, walked in the 3rd, and flied out in the 6th. Bounce past, off of Watson's glove, recovers, throws, and he gets him. So Ryan Braun will not come to the plate in the 8th inning. Tony Watson pitches a scoreless 8th. Pirates still lead by 1. The 9th inning here in Milwaukee. Pirates trying to take yet another series. Stay tuned after the final out. Taking you on the field and inside the clubhouse. Game reaction from the team. Clint Hurdle and our Root Sports analysts. Pirates post game presented by Allegheny Health Network comes up after the game here on Root Sports. They are getting ready. As you see, they are at PNC Park. Robin Teague. There's some fans
something going
there.
on in the back there today.
They like to do the shows even when the Pirates are away from PNC Park. I think that commotion is just the fact their fans are on hand to see the postgame. Nice touch. Elian Herrera stays in the game to play center. As Jose Tabata takes 1 ball and 1 strike. Tabata 1 for 3. Herrera pinch hit and stays in to play center field. Chopper, here comes Reynolds again. Can he make another great play? He's trying. Not this time. I'm sorry, Reynolds at first base. Jeff Bianchi, Reynolds-like, makes it close. And now Reynolds on the other end looking down at Ron Renicky, and they may want to challenge this. At least they will buy some time. And
well, it looks safe to me, though. I'm surprised they're even thinking about it.
Renicky will look toward his dugout. Bench coach Jerry Narron. Safe there, doesn't it?
Easy safe.
No challenge. Here is Tony Sanchez. Infield single for Tabata. Pirates look for an insurance run. Checking to see maybe if Sanchez would give anything away. He might be bunting. Mike Davis comes out on deck. Mark the Shark getting ready, and Euclides Rojas, the Pirates bullpen coach, going over the scouting reports. And Sanchez does show bunt and takes a ball. Rob Wooten struck out Jordy Mercer to end the 8th. And he pops the bunt up, and oh, what a play by Lucroy. Jonathan Lucroy retires Tony Sanchez on the bunt.
He was able to find it right away. Good quick first step. Some good catchers in this division.
No doubt one of the best right there, and Jonathan Lucroy started the game, spent most of the game over at first. Mike Davis bats for Tony Watson. Pirates pinch hitters have done an outstanding job first month and a half this season. They have the 3rd highest batting average behind Colorado and these Brewers. And Pirates pinch hitters have the most RBIs in the National League with 14.
Pirates been getting those comeback wins. Big comeback wins. A lot of times it's a key pinch hit at the right time that keeps an inning going, or maybe even the big hit that knocks in the run you need.
Mike Davis hitting .286 with Pittsburgh. 7 of his 12 RBIs while wearing the black and gold. He's 0 for 2 as a pinch hitter. Makes the strike, 2-2. Davis with a .375 on base percentage with the Pirates. Oh, Wooten thought he had him.
Not so fast, Wooten.
Call there by C.V. Buckner. Throw to first and Tabata back. There he goes. Taken for ball 4. 2 aboard with 1 out. And the top of the order, Starling Marte will have his 2nd at bat of the afternoon. He struck out as a pinch hitter against Zach Duke and stayed in the game to play left. And here comes Josh Harrison to pinch run for Davis.
Davis did his job, got on base. You know, I like the way his knowledge of that strike zone. You don't see him chasing too much. Very patient hitter, and that spot right there, he worked it nicely to get the walk. Not only got himself on base, but pushed that insurance run over in the scoring position. Situational taking, along with the situational hitting.
Newton gets a couple of quick strikes on Starling Marte. Almost chased.
Almost. The outfield's deep in this situation.
Bounce to short. Double play ball. 6-4-3. Mark Melancon. Very little wiggle room. Just a one-run lead going to the bottom of the ninth. Ryan Braun to lead off. Going to the bottom of the ninth. Mark Melancon going to try and nail it down. So far, so good for the Pirates bullpen. Well, before the game, Bob gave you his tips to win. Good work from the pen.
Secrets.
No, this is secret stuff. Yeah, but we can let the secret out now. Keep control of Braun 0 for 3, and by the way, grounded into a double play. They've added that.
That's
grounded into a double play.
That is some control.
That's control. Not just 0 for 3, but grounded into a double play. And watch the running game. No steal attempts.
That's like being 0 for 3.5.
Yeah. I love that they added grounded into a double play. Just to enforce what you were saying, Bob.
That's right.
So here's Mark Melancon trying to save this one for Wandy Rodriguez. It won't be easy. It's Braun, Lucroy, and Reynolds. Melancon did not face any of those three hitters last night. For the bottom of the order, he gave up a 2-out single before nailing down his 5th save. We don't have to tell you how dangerous this man is. I saw him almost single-handedly beat the Pirates on back-to-back nights. Ball 1 in Pittsburgh. He hit Homers on consecutive at-bats. Back on April the 19th, homered in the 7th inning off Tony Watson, and then homered off of Jason Grilli in the 9th to give the Brewers the lead, the eventual win. Tied the game the next day off of Grilli in the 9th with a home run. He's trying to tie it up. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yeah, that's what he's thinking about right now, at least until he gets to 2 strikes. A big swing. No matter what the offensive category is, he's never far off the pace in any of them. Giving Tony a little time after that foul tip.
To right field, a base hit for Braun. He's on.
Go curveball on him, and this is what the good hitters do. They stay back and let's just line the ball the other way. You know, your so-so guys that they're still in that trying to hit a home run mode, and they're probably trying to pull that hook. Gets off the end of the bat for a little weak ground ball to shortstop.
Melanson's one loss this season came here at Miller Park on April the 12th. He had come on in the 8th inning of a tie game. He got the first out before Braun singled off of him, and then he gave up consecutive hits to Aramis Ramirez. And this man, Jonathan Lucroy, had an opposite field RBI single that brought in the go-ahead and winning run. Seemed to be what Lucroy's agenda was against Melanson, to go the other way. No strikes. Falls behind 2-0. And now Clint Hurdle asking where that pitch was.
The umpires never have any friends.
Three balls, no strikes, and you can see that ball, the last 2 pitches hit the edges there, but Melanson not getting the call, and it's 3-0. Calls plural.
Could easily be 1-2 instead of 3-0.
Lucroy 2 for 5 in his career against Melanson. Four-pitch walk. Nobody out. Tying run to scoring position. Winning run to first. And here comes Mark Reynolds.
Reynolds is one of those guys that's got a lot of power. He's hit a ton of home runs, but if you can throw the ball where you want to and make your pitches, you always feel like you can do good work against this type of hitter. As he does have a lot of swings and misses, he'll strike out a lot. But if you make a mistake, he can really make you pay for it very quickly. A lot of power. Especially here in this park.
Ramirez watching from the bench, and now Reynolds going to talk with Ed Cedar, the third base coach. I'm sure would not anticipate this guy punting. Reynolds is 1 for 5 with a home run in his career against Mark Melanson.
Pirates are playing back there, and he's certainly not expecting a bunt.
Shows bunt, takes a ball.
Reynolds is going to get back in rather than looking for the side. He's not used to being asked to move runners along.
He has 2 sacrifice bunts in his major league career. He hasn't had one since 2008. Not bunting here, but he takes ball 2.
Maybe just maybe he's taking it all away.
Yeah.
Grounded in the 1 double play.
Melanson moments ago just walked his 2nd batter of the season. A 4-pitch walk to Lucroy. He's fallen behind Reynolds 2-0. 3-0.
I mean, this is a big red flag when you see Melanson start missing the strike zone. He's never wild.
Chris Davis on deck. Nobody out. Bottom of the 9th inning. Takes a strike. Just trying to rattle Melanson a bit there as he did that first pitch. It's now 3-1. Maybe really no intention ever of bunting.
And now that he's way ahead in the count, you just go ahead and let him swing for it.
Gotta believe that. 8 homers on the season, 3 of them against the Pirates. Three and 2. And Melanson come all the way back here.
A better pitch than that. That's not really the pitch I think you want to be swinging on 3-1 count. If he was like just looking for a certain pitch in a certain spot, was he looking for a cutter at the knees away on the block?
Three-two pitch. Walked him, pitch in the dirt. Bases are loaded with nobody out. Back-to-back walks after Melanson had allowed just 1 base on balls so far this season, his previous 19 appearances. And now they are loaded for Chris Davis. And what does the defense do? Ray Searage comes out.
Well, if you go by the book and play for a win on the road, then you have to come in and try to stop that tying run from scoring. But if you throw out the book and are willing to play for a tie, as you can move back and go for a double play ball. Concede the tie game for 2 outs. Now Clint's a little tough at times to guess what he's going to do, because sometimes he'll go with the quote-unquote book, and sometimes he won't.
Infield will shorten up, not quite to the grass.
They're playing in, but where you would, I think, with nobody out. Coming in and still giving yourself a little bit of range, especially Mercer at short. He's definitely not on the edge of the grass.
Now Chris Davis is 1 for 4 in his career against Melanson. Today he's 0 for 3 with a strikeout. He has struck out 41 times this season. That is third on the club, behind Carlos Gomez and Mark Reynolds. 1-1.
The strikeout would be huge. Then you definitely could play back for the double play. In the game that way.
Remember the other night at PNC Park, Sunday night, when the Pirates were setting up shop for a come-from-behind win, and how the Giants.
It was a pop-up double play, right?
Yep. 1-1 pitch, and now it's 1-2. The Cardinals, rather. After the Pirates took 2 of 3 from Toronto and then 2 of 3 from San Francisco, the Cardinals held on to win it 6-5. Trevor Rosenthal got that 1-2-3 double play. The bases loaded to end the game. Melanson trying to wiggle his way out of this major jam. Nobody out bottom of the ninth. Blocked by Tony Sanchez. 2-2.
Pressure on for that one. That one bouncing out there in front of him quite a ways.
Scooter Gennett looking for his opportunity to pinch hit. 2-2 on Davis. Broken bat flare. This is going to possibly win the game. One in. They're going to wave home the other run. Here comes McCutcheon's throw. It's late, and the Brewers win it. On a broken bat, 2-run single by Chris Davis. The Brewers come back to win it in the bottom of the ninth inning.
Almost like the Brewers kind of returning the favor last night. The Pirates coming out, beating their closer, K-Rod, at the end of the ball game, really knocking him around a little bit. Just a weird way to lose the game, with Melanson having trouble with the control. That just almost never happens when he is out there, but it happened this afternoon.
Davis delivers as Braun and Lucroy score, and Milwaukee takes the series. That good work by the bullpen up until that point goes for naught, as the Brewers come back to win, and they are now 8-2 this season against the Pirates. Final score: the Brewers win it 4-3. We'll have more from Miller Park in a moment. Now back to Pittsburgh in the studio.